We are back with Chef Payton Curry, who is finishing up a fabulous recipe for fresh dates, and it's a fresh date jam.
It is.
Sometimes little things come out right before we.
I know
that's
totally my fault. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little portion control on our dates, I guess. We've got here just the dates that we're straining into the food processor.
And we did talk about, earlier I had said, did you, with the crust, did you have to boil them or heat them up? And you said, no, I didn't have to do that, and that with this one, because this is what we used for our crust.
For our crust.
But this is this.
We're using the second one, the least expensive of the two.
Okay.
For the inside filling here.
And again, these are from McClendon Farms.
These are from McClendon Farms. Joe from Agritopia has some out in Gilbert. You know, you're going to see these dates coming all over the place, which is good.
Date season?
Date season is right
when
now,
does it
which
run
is
through?
good. They started picking about 3 weeks ago, and now they're in the drying process. So these dates, they have to be harvested by hand, and then they get put out on little flats to dry. So the skins on the outside, you'll see them start to dry, and the more they dry, the sweeter obviously as they'll be, because what that's doing is really. So
later in the date season, you'd have, if they're around, you'd have potentially the sweetest.
Sure. So we're, I guess, the sweeter of the two dates. So now we're just going to puree this, and what's nice about this is, again, we're not adding brown sugar or Caro syrup or any vanilla or anything like that.
We use the apple cider.
We use the apple cider.
Sticks and a little bit of pumpkin spice.
Yep, a little pumpkin spice. So at this stage now, we're just pureeing it. And something that's nice about this is you can stop this here. I mean, I know it's a little bit warm, but even to do something different, you would use a little bit less of the date, but if you throw a little bit of this into a bowl and you make a little kind of a ball like so, and you can actually do little vegan truffles. So people that can't eat chocolate, or you're trying to watch your diet, or you're trying to do something like that, obviously you at home would make it perfect instead of like me and get little date pieces all over. But so you can do chocolate truffles, but for us right now, what we're gonna do,
date truffles.
Yeah, date truffles instead of chocolate. So now what I'm doing is just pureeing the dates inside. We're gonna add a little bit of this apple cider to it. Of course, whenever you add anything hot to a food processor, that sounded really Minnesotan there, didn't it? That's
it did,
good.
Minnesota.
That's good. We're just going to get her done here, I guess. Date filling.
Now,
and that's it.
That's the jam?
That's the jam.
And so this could be used on...
You could use it on French toast. You can use it on pancakes.
Are we looking for a certain texture or consistency?
If you like it a little bit on the smoother side, you can go a little bit more of the liquid inside.
Oh, okay.
For me, I like it a little bit of a crunch to it, or a little bit of bite to it, so it's not pureed completely.
Now, do we have to preserve these or can these in mason jars or anything?
There is so much sugar in this that if you were to puree it when it's this hot, fridge, it'll stay good for 3-4 months.
Okay.
It's not going to go bad.
So we do want it hot when we
close do it hot when you close it up. Now when I did this, this is the one that I make at home, which is a little bit different in the fact that, like I said earlier, I use a lot of toasted nuts in mine.
Right.
I want the protein. I use all of the fancy dates on the top instead of...
Do the fancy dates have a name?
They're fancy now. I don't know. We call them medjool dates. There's fancy and then there's less fancy.
Okay.
I would say that you only bring the fancy dates home to mom. The less fancy, maybe dad will appreciate those too. But that's just me. So the way that I eat this at home is just a little bit of yogurt on the bottom of a plate. And this is a way to get your granola, get your dates, get your yogurt. And
look at that.
You know, if you're vegan, obviously you're not going to do the yogurt. If you're like me and you eat a little bit of yogurt, you're going to go through it.
In my lifetime, I never knew that there was such a thing as bee pollen.
You know what? The way that they get this bee pollen off the bees, I asked Bob McClendon, and tomorrow we have the farmer's market at Town and Country, which is 20th and Camelback, which I will be there. So if you have any produce questions, come bug me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. But I asked Bob, how do you get the bee pollen off of the bees? And they constructed this kind of chicken wire looking contraption where the bees have to fly through. And they have to put their wings back. And then Bob has all of his grandkids.
Are you telling, this is the truth? Are you?
No, this is the truth.
Okay.
Not.
No, totally is the truth. I wouldn't tell a lie.
It is the truth.
No, they fly through it and it collects all the pollen, and the pollen drops down, and then they toast it and dry it, and it comes out like this.
They're stunt bees, Stephanie.
They're stunt bees, yes. So for me, this is true.
Okay.
I'm not pulling your leg.
I can't tell because he always has
Not on a first date, darling. Not on a first date. Come on.
But it's not our first date.
It
That's
is
the problem. So that's why I've seen the twinkle
We're
in
on
your
the
eye.
less fancy date, aren't we?
We are. We've gotten to the cheap date.
The cheap date. Yes, that's good.
We're
That's
going
good.
to have the recipe
That's
on
classic.
SonoraLiving.com.
That's
Thanks
classic.
for being in
You're
here.
welcome,
We
honey.
appreciate
Nice to
it.
see you.